Today, Customs and Border Protection pulls aside 3 American residents returning from Canada with their Canadian brother-in-law.
Drove your vehicle up. You guys are picking this gentleman up.
Yes.
And then you're coming into the U.S.
Yes.
For a week.
For a week.
3 of the travelers do have status in the U.S. and they're attempting to return home to Virginia.
But unlike his relatives, the Canadian needs permission to enter.
When did you immigrate to Canada?
That was 2001.
What have you been doing in Canada since you immigrated?
I was working in different jobs.
So for the last 15 years, you haven't done anything in Virginia?
No business.
A wife or children or any ties to Canada?
No, they are in Pakistan.
They're in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have plans for them to immigrate? Have you sponsored them?
Maybe in future.
But not currently?
Not currently.
There's no return ticket for the Canadian citizen. He allegedly will purchase a Greyhound bus ticket sometime in the future. The keys to the vehicle are...
On the dashboard.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. You can have a seat.
Thank you.
He doesn't have a permanent residence in Canada, so that's all very concerning. We're looking to find more concrete proof that he is a true visitor to the States and will be returning to Canada.
There are these deposit slips.
I gotta take withdrawal slips.
These ones?
Yeah. We found deposit and withdrawal slips from the Canadian citizen. We withdrew $100,000 in September. Dollar figures ranging from on average $10,000 to $100,000.
Look at all these.
$100,000 deposit to Habib Bank yesterday. The most concerning piece of information was a deposit in Pakistan for $100,000. We have concern that there's illegitimate money movement. It's definitely something that raises suspicion. Sounds like a clue.
At Chicago's O'Hare International Airport,
Where are you coming from?
All right, you guys bring back food, alcohol, cigarettes today?
the afternoon rush begins.
Let's see your luggage. Just put them over here.
But an unexpected trip to secondary inspection may mean lost time for this transiting Swiss businessman.
I have to fly to Atlanta.
Okay. He was just there for a regular baggage exam. These are your bags here? Here, you could just put the backpack on here, too. Everything is yours here?
Yes.
Did you pack everything yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you bringing any food with you today?
No food.
Commercial merchandise?
I have just some gifts.
What kind of gifts?
Watch.
1 watch?
9 watches.
9 watches?
Yeah. The value is about $800.
$800
Yeah.
each?
No. Sorry.
$800 total?
Total, yes.
All right. Do you have any receipts for those watches at all?
Here with me? No. Should I? I don't know.
Yeah. Now, $800, that sounds a little far-fetched. I mean, it's a Swiss-made watch. These are pretty nice watches here.
Everything from Switzerland is... no, I'm joking. As a normal Swiss watch.
You have no receipts with you.
No.
Is that correct, or
Yes.
Hang on a second, all right? Let me did a little further research to see what the actual watches were. I got some good news and some bad news.
At the Blue Water Bridge crossing in Port Huron, officers pull aside a pair of Americans who took a wrong turn in a rented vehicle.
2 young men didn't want to go to Canada. They were trying to get to Maine. We detained them while we were searching the vehicle.
The canine alerts to the passenger side.
Right here.
Right there?
Right underneath here, yep.
Found what appears to be narcotics. We handed it off to another officer who was doing the testing while we looked for anything else suspicious.
Like, just feel underneath, go all the way underneath here. Okay. You can feel that padding. I've never seen a car with that much. We were able to see some stapling on this floorboard. So that's kind of out of the ordinary. I think we should x-ray it.
I don't think it would hurt. Yeah. We took it to x-ray it and see if anything that we couldn't see with our own eyes.
US Customs and Border Protection officers are trained to expect the unexpected.
There's blood all over it.
At Detroit Metro Airport,
So we have to take these because they look like they have insects.
agricultural specialists seize illegal plants off a flight from the Middle East.
Frozen grape leaves.
They have to be so dry that they crunch.
They have evidence of insect damage, possible plant disease.
The passengers are allowed forward, but officers will check for stowaways.
The overall job of agriculture specialists is to prevent the introduction of invasive species into the country. Maramia is a dried plant product. It smells a lot like sage. It's related to sage.
What we're looking for are what they call sage apples, made by a type of wasp called a synipid wasp. Ah, okay, here we go. That shouldn't be there. That's not a fruit. That's not a seed. Try to pull it open. Okay. And what just fell out right there? That's a dead adult. That shows you the scale of how small these insects are. It's a very, very tiny wasp.
But size doesn't matter to Mother Nature.
We did find several prohibited products, and many of them were infested with invasive species. Any day that we can come in here and prevent the introduction of any of these pests is a good day for us.
At Chicago's O'Hare International Airport,
$800 each?
No.
$800 total?
Total, yes.
an officer has no time for the Swiss Traveler's Watch Declaration.
Did a little further research to see what the actual watches were. I got some good news and some bad news. Good news is I pretty much found a watch.
Yes?
These are $500 watches almost. I mean, you're talking about times 9 times 4.
Yeah, but it's because, maybe, yeah.
You're talking about $3,600 worth of watches if I go on the low end here. I'm gonna say this to you, and this is the truth.
Yeah.
The burden of the proof falls on you. I don't have to sit there and try to see how much these watches are. You have to convince me. You did not declare these watches when you went through APC.
Yes.
There's
But they were talking about 10,000.
commercial merchandise, all that.
Commercial, yeah, but
this is commercial. This you have 9.
It's a gift.
I don't think you understood exactly what the actual definition of a gift versus commercial merchandise was. So I'm gonna be nice to you.
Yes.
Okay, considering the fact. I'm gonna price them at $400. I'm gonna give you the low end there.
Yeah.
Times 9 is $3,600,
$600,
right?
Yeah.
But it's $54.09. He could have paid a lot higher than that, and he might not even left with his watch. We could have just seized them right there for fail to declare. Go by that window over there, the cashier's window.
Jawohl.
We make mistakes, fine. You know, we give them the benefit of the doubt. We just want them to declare and then pay the duty to the government, and then they're on their way. That's it.
At the Rainbow Bridge crossing in Niagara Falls, New York,
I mean, you're coming into the U.S. for a week?
For a week.
Customs and Border Protection has questions for a Canadian attempting to enter the U.S. with 3 of his American family members.
A wife or children or any ties to Canada?
No, they're in Pakistan.
They're in Pakistan.
Yeah.
We're looking to find more concrete proof that he is a true visitor to the States and will be returning to Canada.
Look at all these.
A vehicle search turns up financial documents.
We found deposit and withdrawal slips from the Canadian citizen. Withdrew $100,000 in September. Most concerning piece of information was a deposit from a Habib Bank in Pakistan for $100,000. We have concern that there's illegitimate money movement.
How long did the Canadian guy say he was staying?
He said approximately a week, but he doesn't have any return travel booked.
It's definitely more than I think a week's worth of clothes. There's like 12 pairs of jeans.
And 4 Pakistani passports.
I'm concerned none of the individuals presented their Pakistani passports to the primary officer. Let's just grab everything, we'll take it in. We're finding the Pakistani passports. We're finding receipts for large dollar amount banking happening in Pakistan, like literally 3 days ago. And he flew back in to Toronto yesterday. So did they just pick him up from the airport? Yeah, he just got stamped it on his Canadian passport. He's presenting this Canadian document to us, but in reality, really, he's still living as a citizen of Pakistan.
And this gentleman just made a few trips into Iran in the last couple of years.
When was he in Iran?
2008.
So since he became a Canadian, so he was in Canada for 7 years, he naturalized, then he went to Iran. That was kind of a red flag.
Huron, Michigan.
Right underneath here, yep.
Officers discover bags of suspected narcotics in a rented vehicle driven by 2 Americans.
We detained them while we were searching the vehicle. We took it to x-ray it and see if there's anything that we couldn't see with our own eyes.
They did a number of scans and came back negative.
Inside, officers are testing the contents of the bags.
We have what we suspect is marijuana. Right now, all we can classify it as a green leafy substance. And here comes our purple color, as you can see. So that is marijuana.
But the material in the second bag is less recognizable.
So for an unknown substance, the first thing we got to do is test if it is a narcotic or not.
It's really hard and flaky. This will test for opiates, MDMA, ecstasy, and methamphetamines.
Pacific Highway border crossing in northern Washington state.
Purpose of your trip to Canada today?
Pick up car parts.
An American is motoring home with some horsepower.
Now, why do you need to go to Canada to pick up car parts?
With the exchange rate being how it is, and the selection up there, it's better than what we have available here.
Okay, did you buy anything else while you were up there?
No.
Who's installing these motor parts for you?
I will.
Now, you do this for your work?
No, this is just a hobby of mine.
How often do you travel up for car parts, and you're getting such a good deal?
Twice a month.
Twice
3 times a month sometimes.
Okay. This is multiple times he's traveled across the border with car parts. Whether or not these car parts are going on his vehicle is kind of what we're questioning. What do you do for work?
I'm a delivery driver in Wenatchee.
So it was still cheaper to drive all the way up from Wenatchee to Richmond to get parts?
Yes.
All right, sir. Keys are out there? On the truck. All right, I'll be right back with you, okay?
Thank you. Thanks.
He says he's a pizza delivery man, but if he's bringing in multiple parts for cars, this could be his supplement business, and he's just being not truthful or forthcoming with the actual information.
If his intent is to sell the engines, they must pass U.S. safety and emission standards before entry.
Whether or not these motors are allowed to be imported into the U.S., just being a shell like this, it's hard to tell. We'll run some VIN numbers, serial numbers on it, and see if in fact they are compliant, and just go from there.
In Michigan, 2 Americans are detained after officers discovered suspected narcotics in their rented vehicle.
And here comes our purple color, as you can see. So that is marijuana.
But officers are still trying to identify what the second one is.
And then we have this unknown substance.
This will test for opiates, MDMA, ecstasy, and methamphetamines.
All right, so we're getting a purple color, which indicates opium.
We got to keep going until we do identify it.
And if it is heroin, it will turn a greenish color, which we have our greenish color. It was 1.2 grams of marijuana and 33.2 grams of heroin.
After we found the drugs, people were interviewed, and then it was determined that they would be turned over to the local sheriff's department for prosecution. I'm going to go hit the other one here in a second. Coming through. So they'll be transported over to the St. Clair County Jail and have to see the judge probably tomorrow morning.
In New York State,
$100,000 deposit to Habib Bank yesterday.
officers follow the money of a Canadian who didn't mention his Pakistani passport.
He's presenting this Canadian document to us, but in reality, really, he's still living as a citizen of Pakistan.
And this gentleman just made a few trips into Iran in the last couple of years.
When was he in Iran?
2008.
We have concern that there's money being cleaned, laundered, and moved overseas. Money that we can't track. And if we can't track it, we can't make sure that it's being moved for legitimate reasons. So I wanted to get a little bit more information from you specifically. When was the last time you were employed doing that?
Here in Canada? 2006.
2006?
Yeah. Then I went to Pakistan.
Okay.
I have a business out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your business in Pakistan?
Petrol pumps, filling station.
How many do you own?
One.
One?
Yeah.
You said that you're married, you have children. Does she have any other citizenship? Is she UK,
No,
US?
no.
Just Pakistan?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you write down your wife's first, last name, her citizenship, and her date of birth, please? Why does this individual make large dollar figure deposits in a foreign bank when they're supposedly a Canadian citizen living in Canada? So the deposit that you made on the 15th in Habib Bank, was that related to your business?
Yeah, it's my business.
Okay. It's very easy to make money that's illegitimate look legitimate.
In Washington State,
You do this for your work?
No, this is just a hobby of mine.
an American mechanic gets stalled, returning with 2 engines.
You know, this could be his supplement business or his main business, and he's just being not truthful or forthcoming with the actual information.
If he intends to sell them to Americans, the engines must comply with US standards before they can enter.
Whether or not these motors are allowed to be imported into the US, just being a shell like this, it's hard to tell. We'll run some VIN numbers, serial numbers on it, and see if in fact they are compliant, and go from there. American-made motors and companies, they have to abide by certain rules. So should every other company who wants to import their motor into the US. Couldn't quite determine exactly if they met compliance. All right, as it stands right now today, I'm gonna have to turn you back to Canada with these motors and have you make a formal entry through cargo. We wanna make sure that, you know, you are doing everything right, so this is just one of our steps we're taking, okay? So let's head outside real quick. He has to make sure his motors meet compliance and make a formal entry with the broker through the cargo lanes.
This will be the 13th time in a row I've been stopped bringing stuff back. I have to return to Canada and make a formal entry, and then I'm going home.
All right, have a good night, sir.
In New York State,
So the deposit that you made on the 15th in Habib Bank, was that related to your business?
Yeah, it's my business.
Okay.
officers want to know if this Pakistani Canadian with no ties to Canada is a legitimate US visitor.
It's very easy to make money that's illegitimate look legitimate. Approximately how much time do you spend in Pakistan?
Most of the time.
Most of the time?
Yeah.
And what's the purpose of this trip to the US?
Just see the family because I'm coming after 8 years.
8 years?
Yes, yeah.
8 years, that's a long time.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's all the purpose.
Okay. Everyone can come on up. Here are all of your documents. I'm going to hand them all back to you in just a moment. I just wanted to let you know what's going on currently.
Sure.
Okay? At this present time, we're not going to be allowed to have you enter the U.S. My concerns are that we don't have proof that you are, in fact, a legitimate visitor to the U.S. and not an intending immigrant. You haven't been employed in Canada since 2006. You also don't have a return ticket, so we don't have proof that you are actually planning on exiting the U.S.
We are giving sort of guarantee. Obviously, you didn't buy any air ticket or bus ticket because you saw us.
This is not negotiable. You, sir, are going back to Canada tonight.
They can check whatever, where we're coming from, what we are doing. That's their right. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm in this country almost 20 years.
All three were advised that they're admissible to the States. They've chosen to drive him back. All right? Here are the documents.